There's a joke about what would a dog who's chasing a car do with it if it actually caught that car. And it got me thinking about the way a lot of people, maybe you, pursue relationships. Um, you put all this energy into getting into a relationship, and then once you're there, it's like, okay, great, what do I do now? Well, I'm Leslie Dories, your marriage coach, creator of the Hero Husband Project, and owner of Foundations Coaching. And this is really where a lot of us get stuck because one of my little Leslieisms is that nobody has to take a relationship 101 course, and everybody should. Because the truth of the matter is, human beings are not meant to live in isolation. I mean, can you imagine being on a desert island for days and days and months and years and never connect with another human being? This is why solitary confinement is actually considered torture, because we need that interaction with other people to feel safe, secure, and loved. And we vary. Some of us like a lot of interaction with other people, some of us not so much, but it's a rare human being that can actually never be in contact with somebody else for a long period of time. But what happens is that we don't know how to be relational. And being relational means that it's not just about you. It is about the other person in the relationship. And what makes romantic relationships difficult, marriages specifically, is because the two of you come into that relationship as equals. It's the only very personal, very connected relationship that we enter into that we are equals. When if we're living with somebody else and they're just a roommate, they're a friend, we're not that connected to them. But growing up in our household, we were a child, or we were a parent, or we're a younger sibling, or we're an older sibling. There's a hierarchy. But in our romantic relationships, we are equals, and that's where the problem comes in. And so being relational means that you have to be willing to do certain things. And I was thinking about three of them today that I wanted to share with you. The first one is to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because when your partner does something differently than you do, or they want you to do something different, it's uncomfortable. And what most people do when we get uncomfortable is we push back. We don't want to do it that way. We want the discomfort to stop. We want things to feel easy and normal and whatever. But things are going to change, and how you interact with your partner is a big part of it. Another part of being relational is being kind. John Gottman, who is a marriage research guru, has identified what he calls the four horsemen that lead to divorce. And by the way, every single one of those horsemen is non-relational behavior. And the one that he says shows shows the worst outcome is contempt. When you are contemptuous of your partner, or your partner is contemptuous of you, that is a really bad sign. And the antidote to that is to be kind. One of the things that's been very, very hard for me over the years is to listen, not just to the harsh words that my clients use towards each other, but the harsh tones, right? It is, you don't feel loved if somebody is calling you names or attacking your character. That is not loving relational behavior. So if you're doing that in your relationship, or your partner's doing it to you, I beg you to please stop it. And the last thing that I wanted to mention about being relational is making room for each other. Please note I said for each other. Not you making room for your wife making room for you both making room for each other. Finding that third way if you need to. Now, there's some instances where I don't, it's like you may not feel strongly enough about how your partner does something, or they don't feel strongly enough about how you do something, and that's fine, it doesn't matter. But it's those issues where you have to reach agreement that you want to be able to continue to have the conversation, to work through that, to figure out why is this important to my partner? What matters? Because this is where you might be thinking it's about the dish on the sink. It is not the dish on the sink that she's upset about. It's the fact that she feels it then becomes her responsibility, or what, vice versa, whatever the other issue is. But those are the three things, and those are just three of the very basic skills that we need to learn if we're going to be in a successful relationship. So just getting into a relationship has its challenges, I'm not going to deny that, but the bigger challenges come once you are in the relationship and you want to move it forward. So if you have any questions about that, I would love your feedback. I would love to know your thoughts about being relational and how you're doing in your relationship. But I also want to know what gets in your way. So please feel free to put a comment down below. If you want to talk to me personally, that would be great. You can send me an email at leslie@foundationscoachingnc.com. That's Leslie, Lesli, no E. Thanks, Mom. Or you can send me a direct message. But the thing is that if you can learn to be relational early, you give yourself a huge chance to be successful. So hopefully you found that helpful. And until next week, stay loving.